Hey everybody, welcome to a new week of Secure the Seat Live. I'm so happy that you're here. You could be anywhere on the internet right now and you're here with me. My name is Minda Hartz and I am your host. And if you are new to Secure the Seat Live here on LinkedIn, excited that you're here. And if you've been rocking with us from the get-go, you already know you're part of the squad and I appreciate you. I have a very special guest today and friend that I'm excited for us to dive in to today's conversation, which is about voting for yourself, very apropos of what's going on in our country. And I just want to acknowledge that I know it's been a very hectic week for many of us, not just on the political front in the country, but also just with the pandemic, both the health crisis and racially. And so just letting you know that standing with you and praying that this week is a little bit better than last week. I don't know about you, but I did not get a lot accomplished. And so I am hoping for a better situation. But again, if you are watching us here on LinkedIn Live, thank you so much. Excited to have lunch with you today or breakfast, wherever you're joining in from. If you're on Twitter, hey, what's up? You know, I love to have fun on Twitter. And then also on YouTube, make sure that you put your comments in the comment section because I want you to make sure that you ask all the questions you need to, because Kanika is about to keep it all the way 100. And if you don't ask those questions that you need, I don't know what to tell you. Find her online and maybe she'll answer. But Kanika, welcome to Secure the Seat.
Hey, how you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm good. Happy Monday.
We made it. And you are an author, you are a coach, you are a speaker. Tell everybody a little bit about you who may not be familiar with your work.
So my name is Kanika Tolver. I am from the Washington, D.C. area, and I am the author of this amazing book called Career Rehab, Rebuild Your Personal Brand and Rethink the Way That You Work. I enjoy coaching my clients. I'm a career coach, and I really enjoy coaching my clients. I also am a woman who is in tech, so I've spent over 15 years in the technology industry, and I work also within the federal government tech space.
I'm excited for people to learn more about your work, and I actually have your book behind me. So if you are not familiar with Career Rehab, my co-pilot Mike will drop it in the chat, so you can go ahead and put that in your cart now and get that popping and get everything you need. So Kanika, without further ado, today we're discussing shifting your mindset and voting for a better life. You've recently coined an article in Entrepreneurship around this, and Mike's going to also drop that article too. So you have all the gems and you have all the resources going into the week. But in your thought leadership, you're playing around with this concept of voting for yourself this year, which is very similar to what's going on in the country right now. What do you mean by voting for yourself?
So I think for the most of 2020, we spent a lot of our time being super anxious about the election results. And I started to really think about it like, we govern a part of our own lives. There's things within our own life that we can do ourselves. But a lot of times we get caught up into leaning into the presidential leadership, and we don't feel like we can actually take back ownership. We have to elect for a better life. So when I was thinking about voting for myself, I was thinking about how can we all reverse our stress into success by voting for ourselves? How could we turn our anxiety into accomplishments if we voted for ourselves? How could we dominate depression if we voted for ourselves? We all felt really stressed out last year. We felt really anxious and even depressed due to the coronavirus and people losing loved ones. So I think if we vote for ourselves, it allows us to know that we can administer our career, our business, our health, our family, and we can take some responsibility for the things that we can control, even though the country has been going through so many bad things this last year.
I love that. I wish I had my tambourine so I could just do one of these, because I think which we should, right? We should all go out to the polls and vote when it's time. But we also got to vote for ourselves, right? We got to go just as hard for our candidates as we're going for ourselves. And so I really like that concept. And in the article, the entrepreneur article that you came out with, and again, Michael will drop that in the chat for those who may not have read it. You have 3 steps. Talk to us about those 3 steps in voting for ourselves in 2021.
So these are the 3 steps. These steps are kind of similar steps that our new president, Joe Biden, took as he went through the election process. So we have to have our own election for our business and for our career or for our family, for our health. Whatever your goals is, you guys can create your own election for yourself. So the first step is we have to nominate ourselves. We have to nominate ourselves. So when you nominate yourself, you're putting yourself out there to win. So often we want to dominate before we nominate. We want to just go out there and just try to do this for our career, try to do this for our business, but we haven't nominated ourselves to feel like we can be set up for success. So nominating ourselves is the same way that President Joe Biden, he actually was nominated to run this election, and he won. So that's the first step. The next step is that you guys, we all have to figure out a way to campaign to win. Campaign to win. The same way President Joe Biden set up his team to campaign to win, we got to set up our own team. That means leaning into our network, leaning into our squad, our mentors, our sponsors, our managers. If we have a business and we have clients and customers and partners, we can't campaign to win alone. Even though we're voting for ourselves, we still need the support of other people to help us move forward. So it's all about leaning into our professional network. After you build that infrastructure of your team, the next thing you guys can do is we can focus in on marketing ourselves. Got to get on that campaign trail for your career. You got to get on that campaign trail for your business or for your financial goals. And you have to market yourself. And this means that we got to show up online. We have to have our LinkedIn profile set up, our resumes, our websites, our logos. We need to be marketing our books, our digital products and services. We have to market ourselves if we are going to win this election for our own lives. And the last thing, we have a new transition going on. The Biden and Harris transition is taking place, and they're transitioning into success. We have to transition into success too, right? And the way that we transition into success is we have to celebrate the small wins and the big wins. There are going to be some setbacks and failures, but transitioning into success doesn't mean that if you have a setback or failure, that means that you're not successful. It means that we can learn from the things that is not working well for our career or our business. And we can continue to thrive and we continue to be successful by leaning in and having a better understanding of what we can do better.
Yes, all of that. And if you're taking notes and you couldn't write it fast enough, the good thing for you is there will be a replay of this of Kanika here on Secure the Seat Live, but also you can take a look at that entrepreneur article that's in the chat so that you can make sure. And if you got that energy, that fire, that passion from Kanika, so also go get career rehab, because part of voting for yourself is also knowing how to do that. Right? Yeah. Let's take a couple questions from the audience. I see the chat on all the platforms are blowing up. Kanika, somebody wants to know, how did you go about voting for you? Because you seem so confident. Would love to hear your thoughts on that, Kanika.
That's a great question. So I was just like many of you, I was distracted. And one thing that I really focused in on making my 2021 theme was to focus in on transactions over distractions. If I am going to win, transactions over distractions. And transactions doesn't mean it's all from a money perspective or from a business perspective. Transaction could be that you save more money, you buy that new house, you get that new man or that new woman, or you land a new job. Transactions just mean that you are focused in on making sure that you stay in a non-distracted way. So for me, I have been more focused in on being laser focused on what's for me. Me voting and casting a ballot for me ain't got nothing to do with nobody else but Kanika. And I think it's important for us to vote for ourselves. We have to stay focused on our path and our goals. And when we do that, we're going to win. But when we're doing a lot of comparing, we're not going to win. And we're going to be looking at someone else voting for themselves. And they're out there winning their election. But you got to win yours.
Listen, that is a word, because I think so often there's a quote that I often use, and comparison is the thief of joy. It's like, you can't vote for yourself and be looking at somebody else's ballot, right? You got to be about your business, and you can't be mad if somebody else is quote unquote winning, right? Because you could get your steps in motion so that you could be winning too. I love that so much. We'll take another question here. I think one of the most pervasive aspects of racism and white supremacy is that it has ingrained that everyone outside rich, white, male norm isn't quite good enough. Kanika, could you speak on pushing back on the low self-value mindset?
That's really good. That's a really good question. So I think it's important for us to focus in on, in my book, I talk about how to get paid now through the money, power, and respect. You know, us as minorities or us as Black people, we really have to focus on getting paid from a perspective, and not just, getting the nice salary, but from the respect and power. And the power comes from us owning that we know that we're expert in X, or we're knowledgeable, or we have the resume. And when we have that level of power, meaning our credentials, our education, our experience, our professional network, then that means that we are asking for the respect, and we want fair respect at work, or wherever in America. When we're out and about, we want the respect, because in order for us to get paid, we have to focus in on all three areas: the money, power, and respect. Because if we focus just on getting the money and we get to work and they're still disrespecting us in a way we're not being fairly treated, then we have to go back to square one and evaluate what we should be doing, or who should be connecting with or telling that we're not being treated correctly. So I think if we keep that mindset, it's like, the DMX and the Locks, they had that song, and Little Kim, money, power, and respect is what you need in life. That's really what we need in life to know our worth. Yes.
And I love a good when you said it, all I was hearing, money, power, respect, what you need in life. and it's true. And you have to vote for yourself. That's why I thought it was so important for us to have that conversation, because I'd seen you talking about it. Another thing, and if you have questions, you already know Kanika's spitting hot bars here on Secure the Show. Put your questions in the chat. We'll try to get to as many as we can before our time is up. But the next question I wanted to pose to you, Kanika, is you have a popular career book called Career Rehab. Show it one more time. It's behind me too, but I can't run behind me. Love it. Mike, please drop Kanika's book site in the chat so that people can go ahead and purchase that. But you can buy the Career Rehab wherever books are sold. One of the themes in your book that I love, amongst many, is date the job. Can you tell the audience a little bit about what you mean about that? Just give them that little Sam's Club sample. So we got to get the book, but tell them a little bit.
So it's one of the most popular chapters in the book about dating jobs. So, I've been through a lot of career heartbreaks in my career. And I said, let me shift my mindset and stop putting my all into these jobs, because they're not really always putting their all back into me. So I said, I want to teach my career coaching clients and my readers about how to date jobs. All right. So this is what it is, guys. The job is friends with benefits. You are leveraging this career relationship with your employer to get more training, to, maybe go to conferences, maybe to learn new skill sets, maybe even to do global travel, or travel once we're able to travel regularly again. But we are in a relationship with a job for what the job can do for us. Every day we're showing up 40 hours a week and giving them something. You need to always make sure when you're dating jobs that you are getting something that's going to add value back to your career and your life. And when that relationship is no longer giving you what you think that you need, we dump the job for another relationship that could add more value to our careers. So I think if we keep the mindset that, some jobs are not going to always do the right thing by us, but while we're there, we're going to be rock stars. We're going to show up. But we're just friends with benefits until I decide whether I want to be in this relationship long term.
Absolutely. I love that so much. And you just gave them just that little sample. So if you want to know how to date jobs, you better go get career rehab. Period. As our boy says, it's period. It's period on Mary Had a Little Lamb. You need that book in your career toolkit. Kanika, so many awesome things. I mean, the chat is just like, all I keep seeing is transactions over distractions.
Yes, transactions over distractions, and that comes even with jobs. You have to stay focused in on what you're trying to get out of your job offer. So if you're trying to negotiate a job offer, always remember, don't get distracted by, what they're saying. Make sure that their offer is really what it is. So, transactions over distractions.
That part. We have another great question in the chat that I wanted to pose to you, Kanika. How do you manage being an author, coach, and working for the federal government?
So I look at it like this. Remember, dating the job, I'm married to the dream. I'm dating the job, but I'm married to the dream. The dream is to, continue to write more books, to be a speaker. So it's very important for me to create a schedule that is going to help, me win. So that means me working on my business stuff on the weekends, in the evenings, even going back to campaigning to win, building a team of people that can help support the business and help support me being an author and a speaker, leaning into my network of people that like Minda and other people that have helped promote career rehab. I think it's important to know that when you are trying to build a business and working, that you have to transition into divorcing the job for the dream. In the book, I talk about that a lot of us want to be full-time entrepreneurs, but we haven't set up the proper infrastructure for us to do that. So until I divorce the job for the dream, I'm going to continue to date my job, and I'm going to continue to make sure that I am giving my business all of me during the times outside of my 9-to-5 business hours.
Great answer. And, it can be yes and so definitely get that book so you can figure out how to build and rehab what's going on in your life right now. Kanika, going back into the questions that I have, I ask every guest who's on Secure the Seat my bonus questions. And I am a lover of grits and rap lyrics, not to be confused. I need to make it very clear. I like my grits with butter and salt. I don't know any other way that I hear these rumors in the streets of people putting sugar and things like that and other things inside. But sometimes cheese. Sometimes I want a little cheesy grits when they're made right. If so, you can't eat everybody's grits, but that's another story. What is your favorite rap lyric and why?
So my favorite rap lyric that I chose for today, because I have a lot of favorite rap lyrics because I am a hip hop head. But everyone knows that follows me on social media, on Instagram, Twitter. I love Nas. I love Nas. I know this is a debate about who's the best rapper, but we're not talking about that today. But Nas has a song called Hate Me Now. And I think Diddy was on that song, or at the time he was called Puff Daddy. But Nas has a song called You Can Hate Me. It's called Hate Me Now. And on the chorus, it talks about basically this particular part of the chorus. He talks about, you can hate me now, but I won't stop now because I can't stop now. You guys got to realize as you're out here voting for yourself, people going to be hating on you. People are not going to like your goals. They're not going to like the things that you're trying to do. They're not going to like that you're trying to get transactions over distractions. Let them hate. And keep on focusing on everything that you're trying to accomplish. As you're voting for you, you're going to have haters. But guess what? When you got haters, it means that you're doing something right. So that is my song or lyric for today.
I love that. And at the end of that lyric, I just love that he says, and I won't stop now. It's like, declaring it. Like, even if you come for me, even if you got something to say, you copying, whatever the case may be, I'm not going to stop. I'm going to keep going. So I love that. And that, yes, for all of us older people who know Sean Diddy Combs, Mr. Combs as Puff Daddy, that is, but him and
it was Puff Daddy then. It was
Puff Daddy back then. But I love that. That's such a good one. If you have questions for Kanika, we'll probably have a chance to take one or two more questions. But Kanika, a lot of people watching, they're leaders, and you don't have to have a title to be a leader. We all have, we can all make decisions to be a leader in our sphere. What's one tip of it or a piece of advice that you would give our leaders watching, how they can make the workplace better than they found it?
You know, when we talked about dating jobs, a lot of times we break up with jobs, and leaders, they are working in existing organizations where they know things are not going right. And I believe that as you break up as leaders or employees, regular employees, break up with jobs and they transition out to go to the next job, keep it 100 when you transition it out, and don't forget about the people that's going to be left behind in that organization. So as you're doing your exit, interviews with HR, it's important. I mean, you should be doing this as a good leader while you're there, but speak up for those that are going to be left behind. And those that are left behind in those toxic work environments, as these leaders transition into new roles, check up on them, mentor them, because sometimes when we're so happy to get out of a bad job that we forget about the people that's still left in the bad job. Mm-hmm. And we should reach back and say, let me just, email them, text them, reach out to them through LinkedIn to see if they are ready for a new opportunity. We happy we get out of toxic relationships, but we always forget about those that still left in the toxic relationship that's currently dating that bad job. So that would be my advice to employees and leaders, is to don't just leave and just let the employees that are still there suffer.
That part. And I just love everything that you said. I have nothing else to add to it. And I just want to let you know, people are like, I'm buying the book now. And then I see some grits slander in the chat, it's transactions over distractions. They're trying to distract me.
Okay. Yeah. Hey, man, maybe I should get that as a t-shirt or sweatshirt, because that's like where the money resides. That's
where the money resides. And take care of that later today. Kanika, we have another question. What was your experience connecting with mentors or sponsors in your career, and who or what inspired you to expand past your 9 to 5?
I always had an entrepreneurial spirit. I don't think that there were a whole lot of people that actually encouraged me. There was a whole lot of more people that discouraged me not to expand, because they were not voting for themselves and they had a scared mindset. So for me, I just said, I'm going to do it. At one time I did leave my government job and left and came back and things like that. So I would say for me is I've always wanted to align my team, building my squad of people, by first trying to develop and nurture a relationship first. I think in my book, I talk a lot about building relationships and networking like a hustler in order to get the right mentors, the right sponsors. I think it's a two-way street. I think people have to stop running and asking people to be their mentor and not really understanding that there should be a level of a foundation of a relationship there. So for me, I think showing up at work every day and showing them I'm a rock star, showing them that I can really do a good job, really help mentors and sponsors believe in my ability to take the relationship, the career relationship, even further. So, there's relationship with the employers, but then there's relationships that you have with people that you want to be your mentors. So I think just asking and not really knowing them sometimes discourages people from really wanting to be your mentor.
Yeah, that's such great advice. Something else you said in there, gems, it was like gems on top of gems. But the thing that you also said was people will try to discourage you from voting for yourself because they haven't voted for themselves. Right? And so I like that. Can you just dig a little bit more into that? Because sometimes we'll hear other people's kind of negativity and campaign like slander or whatever. And that sometimes dictates how we run our campaign and vote for ourselves.
There are going to be people that don't want you to show up to the polls for yourself. There are going to be people that are going to try to discourage you from starting that business, writing that book, or even leaving that job for that matter, or going to another job. So it's definitely important as you're building your campaign team to win, that those type of people don't be a part of it. So I'm networking for my future, not my past. I'm not networking with people that have, a bad mindset. They're going in the opposite direction of me. So that's very important that you guys make sure that you are casting the ballot for yourself, but you're building a team of people that align with you and the values and the skill sets and the knowledge, and they genuinely support you. And if you see someone hating and they're not voting for themselves, they're the last person that you should be even thinking about, so we need to be praying for them that they find a way to learn how to vote for themselves. But you want to build a team of people that really support you genuinely. And I pay attention to how people are voting for themselves, how they're taking care of their career, how they're taking care of their business. If they're not doing things in a healthy way, it's no way that I'm going to value a lot of their, the things that are negative that are coming out of their mouth.
Listen, I don't know if people realize this, Kanika. They probably didn't know that they were coming to church, but you didn't preach that gospel real nice and good, girl. So
Tithes and offerings.
Go ahead and, as a love offering, go ahead and buy Career Rehab for Kanika.
It's only going to be 10%. 10%. It ain't going to cost you about $16 on Amazon. But
Go get it. It's part of voting for yourself. It's part of voting for yourself. There's so many gems in that book. Kanika, any final thoughts?
My final thoughts is, hey guys, look, for the rest of the year, I know it's been a rough week. Well, last week was a rough week, but this is a new week. So we're going to turn our anxiety into accomplishments. And we're going to do that first by being the architect of our own career, mapping out what we desire, we want for our careers, for our businesses, for our lives, for our finances, because, career rehab just isn't about, your career. It's about being, living a full life, right? A full life. It's not just being one-sided. So my advice for you guys is to continue to make sure that you focus on transactions over distractions. If you didn't learn anything else today, and vote for yourself. Continue to vote for yourself. Elect for a better life and continue to win the election for the life that you want. And I guarantee you will have success in 2021.
Yes. We are standing where they said where 2 or 3 are gathered, right? We are gathered. We are claiming it. Okay.
Yes.
I love that, Kanika. This is so good. We've been putting it in the chat box, but where can people find you, follow you, hire you, all the things?
So you guys can definitely reach out to me on kanikatolver.com if you guys want to know more about my career rehab coaching programs and just stay up to date with what's going on with me. If you want to get the real deal, then follow me on Twitter, because that's where I show a little bit of everything about me. I'm on Instagram at Kanika Tolver, on Twitter at Kanika Tolver, on YouTube at Kanika Tolver, LinkedIn at Kanika Tolver. See the consistency. So, you don't have to worry about finding me. I'm in the internet streets, as Minda would say. I'm in these internet streets voting for myself, but I'm also voting for you. I am rooting for you guys to have a better life in 2021.
Yes. And that's why I'm very intentional about the people I bring on Secure the Seat Live and my regular podcast, because we want you to win. We want you to have. There's no reason to hoard these gems for ourselves. And we learn as we go, and we have to share. And so, Kanika, thank you so much for taking your time out and sharing with us. Make sure that you go by Career Rehab. The last thing that I want to say to all of you, let's go into the new week with some energy. Figure out what voting for yourself looks like. Start with the entrepreneurship article that we dropped in the chat. Then go, get Kanika's book. Also, I want to shout out, Mike, if you can drop the link to this wonderful t-shirt, Trust Black Women. It will definitely, that's part of voting for your life. Trust us. And one of my squad members here on Twitter, Natasha, she gifted me this wonderful shirt, and it's a Black owned company. I want to get it right. District of Clothing. So go ahead and support. So I'm dropping that in. And then if you're not already signed up to my newsletter here on LinkedIn, make sure that you go ahead and become a subscriber. I just put out one. I'm not going to clog your inbox. It's just once a month that I send that out here on LinkedIn. And so Mike will also drop that in. It's been great. I will see you next Monday at noon. Share this with people. I know that there's somebody in your life right now that could use these gems that Kanika dropped today. So we'll see you next time. Have a great rest of your week and keep securing your seat.